Hey everyone, today we're going to be making a wine cork wreath using this styrofoam ring and a bunch of corks. And as you can see, I've already got one glued to the top, and we're going to continue this all the way around, and we're going to build layers. So you will be needing a lot of glue, and as you can see, a lot of corks. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your glue gun and you're going to put a little bit of glue on one side and then adhere it to the styrofoam ring. You're gonna go all the way around, and we're gonna do multiple rows of this to make sure that we don't see any of the green form. Okay, now that we've almost completed the ring all the way around, you may or may not have to cut the cork that you're going to put into its final place. Sometimes the space will be a little bit smaller than the cork is, so go ahead and make that adjustment if you need to. So now that we've got our first ring, let's go ahead and start on our second. Okay, now that we've got the second ring just about complete, it's time to add the final cork in this row. And I thought I was going to be able to squeeze it in there, but I wasn't. So I had to pull it out and then cut a little bit. And the corks are usually pretty soft. If you find that the corks are pretty tough to cut through, you can boil the corks, and that makes them just a little bit easier to work with. But I just choose to use a good pair of scissors or like a box cutter and then carefully cut the cork down to the size that you need. All right, and what I like to do once I have a row complete, I know I didn't do this with the first one, but I like to go back in and glue in all of the little gaps in between all the corks just to ensure that they're all sticking together and sticking really well to the styrofoam ring. Okay, now let's go ahead and continue on with our third ring. Now, again, you are going to need a lot of corks and a lot of glue. And once we get this third ring completed, we're going to start on the inner part of our wreath and get that section going. Okay, now, so we have 3 rows completed, and we also have our inner circle row completed. So now what I'm going to do is go back in between each cork and fill in the little gaps just to ensure that they're sticking really well to the styrofoam ring. Okay, now that I have all of the gaps filled, it's time to go ahead and work on our next row. As you can see, this is a really fun project to do. You can do this with kids. You can do this in a short amount of time. These make great gifts. I've been collecting these wine corks for quite some time at my work, so I actually have a ton of these to work with, and I've had some friends donate some wine corks as well. And the green wreath that I'm working with, I actually got at the Dollar Tree. They're about two for $1 sometimes, or you can buy them for $1 a piece. And the glue sticks that I got, I also got from the Dollar Tree. So you can basically do this project for less than $10 if you're getting the wine corks donated. And I'm sure a ton of people are willing to donate them. But these make a great gift. You can dress them up, do some with ribbon, do some with the grape leaves, however you want. But I just find that this is a really fun and easy project for anybody to do on a budget. Okay, now it's time to get this final row, and our wreath is almost complete. Okay, now that we're adding the final cork to our wreath, like I said, you will find yourself having to make adjustments, just depending on what size corks you're using. And don't worry about the edges when you cut them because nobody's really gonna see them. So now that we're gonna go ahead and secure this in place, now we're gonna start decorating our wreath with corks in various in ways. We're just gonna kind of stack them around and we're gonna hide all of the green that we didn't cover, not the back part, but on the top, all the green that we didn't cover when we were doing our rows. Okay, so now it's time to start stacking our wine corks in just different directions to kind of give this wreath a little bit of flair. So there's no wrong or right way to do this. Just go ahead and start adding the corks. You can stack them. You can add as many as you like. You can add as few as you like. In fact, you don't even have to do this step. If you like the way that your wreath looks with just the rows, feel free to leave it at that and then just go ahead and add any kind of decor that you wanted to it. I like to add this because it gives it a little bit of a pop before we start adding our grape leaves and our faux grapes. Okay, see how these are laid on here? I'm not doing it in any specific order. I'm just kind of stacking them, just making sure that all of the green is covered from our styrofoam ring. And you don't have to use a bunch of corks to do this step. Like I said, you can add as little or as many as you'd like. You can add them on the outside of the ring, only on top, whatever you feel. This is your wreath, and just have fun with it. Okay, now that we've added dimension to our wreath with crisscrossing corks on top of our cork rows, it is now time to go ahead and add our decorative grape leaves around the wreath. Okay, now that we've got the grape leaves exactly where we want them, make sure that they're all glued in place. And now we're gonna go ahead and add some ribbon. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add this purple natural raffia that I got at the Dollar Tree to the wreath. So I went ahead and tied it into a bow, and now we're just gonna securely place it in the center of the leaves that we placed onto our wreath. This does take a while for it to actually secure in place because you want to make sure that it can hold up the weight of the grape leaves that we have behind it. Okay, now that we have the bow in place, I'm going to go ahead and take these grapes and separate them from the plastic vine because I'm going to glue them all around the wreath in different little areas. I would normally speed up this process, but I definitely want you guys to see how I'm doing this entire wreath. That way, if you're a beginner like me, you'll be able to follow along closely. Now here's the fun part. This doesn't take much glue to adhere these little tiny grapes into the corks themselves. They stay put rather quick, so you don't have to worry about them falling off. And I'm just gonna tuck them in between all of the corks that I have layered on top. I'm not really gonna put any around the leaves. I'm just gonna kind of keep it to the corks themselves. And this just adds another bit of dimension to the wreath that I really, really like. Okay, so you can't really tell right here, but I did have a couple of corks come loose, and so now I am re-gluing them in between all the corks just to make sure that when it's completely finished that nothing will come loose when I go to hang it. Okay, as you can see, our wine cork is complete. All of our grapes are on, our leaves are on, and our bow. So now all you have to do is just hang it and enjoy.